I like the Dallas Cowboys to get beat this weekend by New Orleans. So here's what's interesting. I've been saying this. So Dallas has had easy street. I mean, it's bad teams, 2 or 3 at home. New Orleans, keep your eye on New Orleans. So the Cowboys so far have faced the 31st defense, the 26th defense, and the worst defense in the league. They've just got nothing but comfort. Keep your eye on New Orleans. So New Orleans opens against J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans, who, with the worst offensive line last couple of years, keep winning their division and winning 11 games a year. And then they go to Los Angeles. Drew Brees gets hurt. They get a bad whistle, and they almost beat the Rams. Then they go up to Seattle, get outgained 2-1, and actually, though, physically push Seattle around, win special teams, win red zone. New Orleans has faced nothing but duress, and they are 2-1, and if not for a bad whistle, could be 3-0. Don't think this is the classic example. Last night, Philadelphia is 1-2, Green Bay's 3-0. But I said yesterday, Philadelphia is more desperate, and Philadelphia has dealt with major receiver injuries, O-line injuries, drop passes. Philadelphia is a better team. I'm not so sure New Orleans is not the better team than Dallas. I think it's very, very close. The last couple times these teams have played, they can't score. And I like Dak. But Giants, Redskins, Dolphins, those are 3 rebuilding teams. Those are rebuilding defenses. He's going to face his best pass rush. He's not going to be able to hear. Sean Payton, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and a top 10 offensive line. This is going to be I have a feeling this is going to look like Philadelphia, Green Bay, where the team with the worst record is going to come in and you're going to go, oh, because the Saints' defense is legit. Think about Dallas. Saints this week, then Aaron Rodgers comes to town. Then the Eagles' defense is a couple of weeks away. And by the time you do face the Jets, Sam Darnold is back. And the Jets' defense is actually good. They'll have Leonard Williams, Jamal Adams, C.J. Mosley, Quinnen Williams, and I think the kid is May. Is it Brian May? Who's the safety that they love? May. Marcus May. They love him in New York. So the defense is now, Jets' strength is their defense. Eagles' D-line is coming to town. Saints' defense Sunday night is real. And here comes Aaron Rodgers. So all this comfort for Dallas, all this comfort food, it's done. That's done. All the rebuilding defenses are done. I like the Saints coming up on Sunday Night Football. I want to say this. I do believe there is a way to lose in the NFL. And nobody goes, we just don't have 16-0 teams. Miami Dolphins the only team to do it. You're just going to lose games. But there are ways to lose. Now, Baltimore this week plays Cleveland. When Cleveland lost to the Rams, the score was 20-13. That was a very respectable loss, right, on paper. But Freddie Kitchens looked like he was overmatched. The play calling was putrid. Baker Mayfield made mistakes. It was the way they lost, not the score, that made us look at Cleveland and go, Baker's overrated. Freddie Kitchens is over his head. Now, Baltimore lost to Kansas City, but they look well coached. They look tough. You came out of that loss, and I think Baltimore's like, hey, we can play with anybody. So Cleveland loses, does not feel good about itself. Penalties, play calling. Baltimore loses, feels great about itself. Last week's a prime example. New Orleans lost in L.A., but Breeze was hurt. They had an early whistle, or they would have taken the lead on him. So New Orleans is like, we're not even going back to New Orleans. We're staying on the West Coast. We got robbed in L.A. They went up to Seattle and controlled the Seahawks. That's a good loss. It matters. Cleveland can lose this weekend 28-20. It's going to be how they lose. If they lose 28-20, 4 penalties, they play their butts off, it is close late, 21-20, and then Baltimore adds a late score, you're going to get on that plane and be, okay, we are making progress. Freddie Kitchens is good enough. He went toe-to-toe with Harbaugh. Baker Mayfield cleaned up his act. We ran the ball, a lot of play action. But if they go and they're a mess and Kitchens is overwhelmed and they have 13 penalties, folks, this puppy is unraveling. Because then you're going to face, off a bye, Kyle Shanahan. Good luck flying west and facing, in my opinion, the most clever offensive guy in the league. Off a bye. That on a short week, because that's Monday night, you play the Seahawks and veteran coach Pete Carroll. Oh, and then it's New England after that. You're not winning any of those games if you lose to Baltimore and it's ugly, Cleveland can lose this week. You can lose this week as long as you show Freddie can go toe-to-toe. Baker cuts down on the mistakes. You run the ball, allowing Baker to do play action. But if you have 9 penalties, you have weird coaching, you look undisciplined, this thing's going to unravel in Cleveland fast. My guess is they play pretty well, but I think it's a time of possession game. I think Baltimore's offensive line is fantastic. I think they're just going to grind and grind and grind. Baltimore does not make mistakes. That's why they're so well coached. They know their quarterback has some limitations, and this is what Buffalo's doing, and they don't put him in harm's way. Cleveland, every play, Baker's having to save the team. So in this league, everybody loses. It is how you lose as a young team. Just watch that Baltimore game. How? Not what happens, but how it happens could be the Cleveland Browns season in the balance. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.